All right, so for this problem here, so we went and graphed this already, you should have. Now it's saying, well, her friend Bernice's race can be modeled by the equation 6x minus y equals -1. Can you graph her friend's equation? How could you change the equation so you could graph it? So this relates back to what we did. This is a standard form. You can easily tell because it's the x and the y are on the same side. You need to get y by itself. So let's go ahead and do this. So we're going to take that problem, move it over here, and we're going to follow those same things. So we need to get y by itself. Well, I notice that there is two things attached to the y. First, there's the 6x, which is being added or subtracted here. And then there's also that negative. That negative is going to end up being attached to this y as well. Just as a reminder, there's a -1 there. Okay, when you can't see a number, it's always a 1. So there's that -1. But we always got to get rid of what's being added or subtracted first. So this 6x, how can I get rid of that 6x? Well, it is a positive 6x. Even though there's subtraction here, this 6x is positive. So we got a minus 6x. Why do we minus 6x? Well, because we need this to be 0. 6x minus 6x is 0. We're going to pull down our -y, pull down our equals, and then I have -1 minus 6x. They are not like terms, so I cannot combine them. Okay. Now we have to get rid of this negative. And just as a reminder again, that's a -1. -1 times y. That's what that's really saying. Well, how do you get rid of n times? You divide. So you're really dividing by -1. And again, you got to do it everywhere. When there's multiple terms, you got to divide everywhere. And what that does is it turns everything that was negative positive and everything that was positive negative. So this was a -y. It's going to cancel that negative out. It's going to become y equals -1 divided by -1. Those negatives cancel out. It's just 1. -6 divided by -1 is now going to be plus 6x. Now the question asked us, can you graph our friend's equation? How would you do that? Well, now we have our y equals mx plus b, but it's a little flipped around. The b is always the number that's by itself. The m is always the number that's with the x, even if they're switched. Okay, so this is our y-intercept or our start. That's how you would begin, and then this would be our slope or our change. Okay, and just as a reminder, that's specifically change in y over change in x, which is our rise over run. So you can use that to graph it. Great. You have a few, so see if you can graph that. That's the first thing I want you to do. Then you have just a few problems down here on the second part where you just go through these, and once you're done, you are all set.